Alright, hello friends, and welcome to a new video on my channel. So I was just going through my Kindle trying to find the next book that I want to read, and I came across a book that is very low on my list of books, as in like I've had it for a long period of time, and that is Pack Alpha by Chrissy Smith. Now the thing with this book is that it's been a while since I've owned it. My Kindle says that I've read it before, but I remember absolutely nothing about it. The very first Kindle that I ever owned was in middle school or so, and I know that I've bought a few books back then. I know that this is a book that I had purchased all the way back then, so it could be that I had read it all those years ago, and I just don't remember anything about it. So today we're going to try it out and see what this book is, because I've seen it on my Kindle all of these years. I've known that it's existed, but I have no idea anything about it. I do know that it is about werewolves, because it's called Pack Alpha. But otherwise, I don't know the plot, I don't know what happens, I don't know any of the characters. We are just hopping into this knowing absolutely nothing about it, so let's see what this is. Is it good? Did I have good tastes back then? And also, like, I do not remember ever buying this book, so this is going to be an experience. This book is so stereotypical werewolf story from 2009 that it almost hurts, but like in a funny way. I was telling my friends about this a little bit in a text, because if I'm reading a book, I've got to be texting my friends about it. Always, constantly. The pack beta, or second in command, or whatever you want to call them, is named Logan. And I feel like in 80% of werewolf books, the beta's gotta be named Logan. Like, it always happens. So I was like kind of joking around with them about that, like, oh my god, his name's Logan, no way. And then the main character is not like other girls. Oh my god, she wears low-rise jeans and baby doll t-shirts, like. And then also, I'm in like the first meeting between the two main characters, and they're angry with each other for absolutely no reason. It's like, he says, oh, I just want to make sure that you understand the rules while you're here because you're not from this pack. And she's like, yeah, don't worry, I understand. She says, I'll only be here for 1 week, then I'll be gone, and you won't have to worry about me corrupting your precious pack. Which immediately, to me, screams like something's wrong, something happened. I want to look further into this and figure out, like, why would she say something like that? Why is she not self-confident? Why does she think that she's just like a terrible person? But his reaction is that it's disrespectful, and he calls her basically like a bitch. And they start fighting about it, and it's like, why? At what point did we feel the need to do this? So, you know, it's going as expected. I'm also currently 14% of the way through the book, still only in chapter 1. This one doesn't have pages, it has locations. So I can't tell you, like, how many pages I am into this, how many pages there are in total, but it seems to be going fairly quickly, and I expect to finish it within the next couple of hours, so that will be fun, maybe. I'm gonna read more and see, because I'm still really interested in seeing, like, what is her past. What is this book about? Why are we here? Like, I know she's here because her sister's getting married. But beyond that, like, why is the book about her? I still don't know that yet, but I needed to tell you about how this book is so stereotypically 2009 werewolf that, of course it is. Okay, hiding in my bedroom real quick because my dogs are being bratty little bitches because it's an hour before they get to eat and they're going crazy downstairs. I didn't want you to hear them stomping around and all that, but I am currently 62 or 64% of the way through this book. I don't 100% remember, but I have finally understood the plot and what is happening here, so I wanted to share it with you. Basically, our main character, Marissa, she is a werewolf who cannot shift. So on all levels except physical, she is a wolf. She had in her past had a sexual relationship with her old pack's alpha's son, and her old alpha didn't really like that, and so he made up this rule that, I gotta hurry because now my dogs are whining, that there's like a law that you cannot have a relationship with a shifter who cannot actually shift. And so she was kicked out of her old pack for this. And her sister as well was kicked out because, like, you gotta kick out the whole family, I guess. Anyway, so she gets to this new pack that her sister has joined, and her sister's about to, like, marry somebody from. So, like, it's really important to her. She ends up having sex with the alpha of that pack, which, like, first of all, the sex scene was wild because it just sort of, like, happens, no talk beforehand. They've known each other for, like, maybe 24 hours at this point, and they just, like, go for it, and it's pretty, not quite BDSM, but very, like, similar. So that's fun. Anyway, and she gets all, like, worked up about it and is like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, like, you just broke the law, don't worry, I'll leave. And he's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, the law, that means that you can't get into a relationship with a shifter who can't shift. And he's like, that's not a law. And she's like, yes, it is. Maybe you just don't know about it. And he's like, no, my dad is on the council of people who make laws. That's not a law. There my dogs go. Anyway, at the wedding, her ex, the guy, the, like, alpha's son from her previous pack, he shows up. And he hasn't even said his intentions, but I already know that this guy is going to try and take the main character for himself, even though now she's, like, kind of in a relationship with the alpha of this new pack, but they haven't said anything. They haven't defined the relationship, so are they really in a relationship? They are. The alpha's son is now the alpha of that other pack, so, like, he's gonna try and take her, and I'm just not really excited to read that sort of story, but I wasn't really thinking going into this that I was going to really enjoy this book anyway. So, like, I was like, this is going to be a 2-star book, but I want to read it because I don't know what this book is at all, so. But I'm not very excited to read these two fighting over this girl when I don't really care about her being with either one of them. Okay, so I finished the book, and I will give it kudos to having a really simple conflict and resolution. You know, we didn't have to go through a whole bunch of bullshit in order to resolve this problem that we were having. But I also feel like if you can resolve it that easily, it was basically just, we told him no, and so he didn't. Is it truly a conflict? You know, it just seemed like And throughout a lot of this book, like, it could have used more details. It's, I think, more on the novella side of a story, something like short. And while that sometimes works for books, I just feel like with this book in particular, we could have added more of those details and really bumped it up to a fuller length novel, and it would have done better. That would have really helped it here. As well, one thing that I didn't like is that there was this little, like, not necessarily a conversation, this little detail that happened later on in the story in the final few pages where it's like, oh yeah, I know about this because we talked about it recently. No, we didn't. The characters might have off-screen, or off-page, I guess, in this circumstance, but as a reader, we didn't. And I don't know if that's more of a personal pet peeve or if that's something that everybody feels, but if you're going to include a detail like that, I want to read it. I want to read that discussion where we talked about this. And so not getting that discussion and just sort of glossing over that was a little bit upsetting. And like I said before, I feel like that's what this book really needs, is just a little bit more detail. It could have been longer and it would have been better for it. But yeah, like I said earlier, I wasn't going into this thinking that I was going to like it. It was just something that was on my Kindle that I was like, I don't remember this story at all, and I want to know what it is so I can at least like look at it and remember. And I still don't remember it at all. Like, I think truly this was my first time reading it, despite the fact that my Kindle says that I've read it before. I think it's lying to me because I don't remember any of that. And I'm not infallible. I will forget things about books occasionally, but I'm generally pretty good at like remembering the basics of a book. So to not remember anything about a book makes me think that something just went wrong. Maybe I accidentally went to the final page and it marked it as read, but I hadn't actually read it. But regardless, the book itself feels very 2009. Very much a product of its time, and it might have been good in 2009, but in the view of 2025, it's just like, there are better stories. Outside of the subject of books, though, just a little like small conversation, I am questioning how I feel about making these sorts of reading vlog videos, and whether I want to include them in like a read 3 books with me format, or keep them in just a single book per video, because books like this that are really short and I can get done in a couple of hours, the video's really short, you know, and I feel like there's not much to talk about because the book was short. But versus a lot of the times I read books that are like 800 pages, and can you imagine a video where I talk about 3 separate books that are all 800 pages long? That would be a really long video. So I'm trying to decide behind the scenes how I feel about each format. Do I look up the page count of a book before I start recording a video for it and try to figure out, is this going in its own separate video or in a video with multiple other books? Do I just record one video, one book per each video, and then have a bunch of videos going out just because like I'm reading a bunch of books simultaneously? I'm not 100% sure yet. If you have an opinion, let me know in the comments. I love reading people's opinions. But with all that being said, I finished the book, therefore I have to finish this video. So definitely an interesting moment we had today. Not what I was expecting, but I was not expecting much. I'm gonna let you guys go for right now though, so thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video for whatever I do then.